Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. I am sending you greetings from sunny Zagreb. My name is Maya and I will guide you with my colleague Tony today through our webinar. So what are we going to talk about to you today? We are going to present you the SharePoint wonders of our new SPDocKit 7, which we released a month ago. I can say that this is one of our biggest releases ever, so we would like to show you today what it can offer you. This version brings some impressive SharePoint administration, management, and governance gems. So Tony will guide you through our demo, and I will give you a brief intro into the new features of SPDocKit 7. So, my name is Maya and I work as a product marketing manager here at Acceleratio for our tool SPDocKit, and Tony is our co-founder and he has been a Microsoft MVP for 7 years, and Tony is here with us. Hi Tony.
Hi Maya, hi everybody.
So for those of you who are maybe not familiar with our company, Acceleratio is a software development company based in Zagreb. We create innovative software solutions for administrators and consultants, and we have customers all over the globe. So some of our big customers are Lego, Coca-Cola, IBM, and some other which you can see here on this screen, which we are very, very proud of. So just to quickly introduce you to our other products, SPDocKit is our SharePoint administration tool, which you will see today. Then we have a SysKit. SysKit is a monitoring tool for Windows servers. It helps you to review your system, to monitor your user activities, app performance, and create numerous reports on these topics. And SQLDocket is our newest tool. It helps you to auto-discover all of the SQL servers in your domain. You can create various reports, generate documentation, and it simplifies managing your SQL environment. So today I will give you a brief intro into SPDocKit and its new features, and then Tony will give you a demo. And please feel free to ask questions. You can use GoToWebinar application on your screen. Just enter your questions and we will try to answer as many as possible of these questions at the end of this webinar. We have reserved about 10 minutes. Also, just to mention that the recording and the slide deck of this webinar will also be available. I will try to send it to you as soon as possible today afternoon or tomorrow morning. So don't worry, you will receive everything about this webinar. Okay, so let's move on to the SPDocKit. As this slide says, once upon a time there was a tool that could help you to create a SharePoint farm documentation with just a few clicks. You could gather all of the farm configuration settings, export them, and then explore them and use them for your farm assessment and farm analysis. It grew through the years, and it became what we like to call the ultimate SharePoint administration tool for every admin and consultant. So what it now offers to you: documentation, reporting, management, governance, and a lot of other possibilities. You can create permission reports, manage reports, compare them, create various content and usage reports. You can also audit your farm configuration according to Microsoft and community's best practices. You can track changes, compare farms, and a lot more. I would suggest to all of you, if you haven't tried it yet, to download our 30-day free trial and try the tool. Also feel free to contact us anytime. We will help you to choose the best, let's say, addition if you want to buy it for your environment and so on. So what are its benefits? We created it for administrators and consultants to automate routine administrators' tasks, to help you better audit your farm performance, to detect potential issues on time, and of course to save money and save your valuable time. So let's move on to SPDocKit 7 and the new features that it brings. The first novelty that I'm going to talk about today is SPDocKit Insights. On this screen you can see the look of this part of SPDocKit. It's a new part that helps you to get a better overview of your farm's health. It makes troubleshooting easier and performance monitoring. On this screen you can see the performance feature. This is a live performance dashboard which helps you to detect whether the servers on your farm are, let's say, online or offline. You can track important performance counters. Then the colored tiles can show you when a server reaches a critical state. So this gives you, helps you to visualize and monitor key performance counter per each server. You can even drill down. You can choose a server you wish or a farm you wish and get much more information about it. Tony will show you this in the demo section. So except that, in SPDocKit Insights, we have the event viewer feature which we introduced with our previous version, but now it gathers, except ULS and Windows event logs, it gathers also the SQL logs into one console, so you can search through them and troubleshoot. It makes troubleshooting much more easier. Except that version 7 brings alerts in this section. So they help you to proactively track what's going on in your environment and of course react promptly. Then I would like to tell you something about novelties related to permissions. I will go through 3 sections. First, I will tell you something about one of the highly requested features from our customer. It's an option to restore SharePoint permissions. I think that it sounds pretty powerful, isn't it? So you can restore permissions for a preferred secureable object. You can choose a subsite, list, or list item, and then use a simple SPDocKit wizard and perform these actions. You can choose, you can see on this picture, you can choose to restore directly assigned permissions, SharePoint group memberships, missing SharePoint groups, and permission levels. The wizard will show you in step 2 the current permission state and the permissions on a selected date, so you will know what will change. And that's it. Sounds simple, isn't it? We will show this also to you. Then we have a new security report. It's a security audit report which helps you to get a complete log of absolutely all permission changes on a specific site collection in a given time period. This report will show you about 13 actions. Then you will see the time when action was performed, who performed the action, the target, and some other details about it. So as you can see here, you will be able to track when a group was created or deleted, when member was added or removed, when there was a change in permission inheritance. You can check when a user was removed from site collection, or you can see when there was granted or removed permissions. Then we have a new set of reports which we call health check reports. These are actually permissions best practices, and you can use them to stay compliant actually with your company's governance policies. These reports will help you to, let's say, check if you have directly assigned permissions or uniquely secured list items, and then use these reports in future to organize and segment your content wisely and much better. For example, this report shows directly assigned permissions, and what the best practice would say is to avoid granting permissions to individuals and, if possible, work with groups instead. So you can use this report to check directly assigned permissions and then manage these things much better. So our documentation, the first feature that we ever introduced, is now revamped, and we have one more possibility. You can now collect and document all of the Microsoft Project Server settings, and then you can include this data when you export and generate your documentation file. So now, as you can see on this picture, You can explore project server sites. You can find out more about security and database information, about operational policies, let's say project lists, project permissions, and a lot of more. So I think that this is a pretty cool new superpower that SPDocKit 7 brings. I'm coming to an end of my part of presentation, but I have to mention also one of very big novelties that we have now. SPDocKit now supports both SharePoint Online and on-premise equally for permissions management. We all know that managing SharePoint Online permissions can be extremely challenging task. So I think that SPDocKit can now simplify these things for you. From now on, so you can connect to your Office 365 tenant from a workstation and then create snapshots, and you can explore through live or historic data. You can manage permissions for users and groups, create numerous reports, and what's important to say here is that you can also track externally shared content and users with these new reports. Also, there is anonymous access links reports, which can show you all of the SharePoint content that has been shared with anonymous users. I think that this is all important for security in your company, so I think that this will be very, very useful to you. Here is an example of one of these externally shared reports where you can see the externally shared content hierarchy. What I have to mention when talking about SPDocKit 7 is another novelty. We have a new pricing model which brings some new additions which provide you, of course, more flexible licensing, and you can now even better choose a license that fits you best. So some of the features in version 7 are available only in Plus editions. So Plus editions bring let's say more powerful features. So feel free to check our pricing page after this presentation and see what we can offer to you. Except that we have special editions now for SharePoint Online. So I think that now you can really choose the one that fits you best. This would be everything from me in this introduction. So Tony, if you are ready, we can now continue with the demo. I will just make Tony presenter now.
Thank you, Maya. I will be switching screens to show you SPDocKit Live. So we'll just share my screen with you guys, and right now you should see my SPDocKit environment, if I'm not mistaken here. Okay. So today I'm going to show you a couple of demos. Everything related to what Maya showed you will be visible. So I'll talk about performance. I'll show you our new features for security and permission management, the new reports. We are going to talk about SharePoint Online, and then at the very end I'm just going to show you a couple of reports that we have added on top of the existing reports, and these reports Maya didn't mention in her presentation, but I'm just going to show you some of the gems that we added in our latest release. We already have some questions, and I'm going to leave all the questions at the end, so please feel free to type into the questions box, and then at the end we can discuss all the questions that you have. So what you're seeing on your screen is the new component, something we call SPDocKit Insights. So this new interface allows you to monitor two things on your SharePoint farm. The most important thing being performance, as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. And then in the left-hand side, we can track events, and you can use our search engine to search and crawl all your event logs and other logs on the SharePoint farm. So a performance part is completely new in SPDocKit 7. So we are going to talk about that feature in more detail. Our event viewer feature has been improved, but it has been available for customers that already had SPDocKit version 6. So what you're seeing on your screen is basic information about my index size. So as you can see, my index size of all my logs is big, around 4 gigabytes, and I have 6.5 million entries in my event logs. I can see a chart of events that are and how these events were distributed over the course of the last 2 weeks. And I can, for example, drill down and see what happened on July 2nd and I can see the number of events divided by a source or server or entry level. So I can see that I have a lot of critical events. So maybe there was an error going on during July 2nd, and that is something that I should review and check what exactly was the problem. If you take a look on the right-hand side, this is where we surface on this part of this dashboard. We surface all the information about performance counters. So everything that we track in your SharePoint farm is being displayed here. So if you look at the top servers by disk usage, so you can see here that we have disks that are running out of space. So for example, as you can see, the E drive on SQL 2016 A01 is almost full, so that's something I need to review and make sure that this disk or this server does not run out of space. So I definitely need to double check on my my server here and see what's going on here. Below that you have memory consumption, fairly typical for SQL and SharePoint servers, so almost entire amount of memory is being used, so that is okay. But I still need to take a look if maybe I need to add more memory to these virtual machines to improve, maybe improve performance on these servers. And then we have CPU power, which is fairly low for my demo farm, which is normal, so I'm quite okay here. So this is a quick dashboard for you, for your administrators to take a look at what's going on in your farms, and then we are going to dig a little bit deeper to show you more dashboards that we have for performance counters. But the first thing that I want to show you is our improved event viewer. So I'm just going to query my event viewer for something that I know exists in my event log. So let me query for this one. This typically indicates a problem with our SharePoint farm. So my index is warming up a little bit. So in a moment or two, it's going to show me all the events containing this particular query string. And as you can see, I have a lot of issues with my configuration database. So something has been misconfigured in this farm, and I see I have a lot of events that contain this particular term, and this is something that my administrator should take a look at. As I said, this was available in version 6, and we have improved the user interface here, allowing you more options. So for example, you can review the results in a table look format. We can also give you more like Google style format of events. So depending on what you're trying to achieve here, we are giving you 2 options. You can also export to Excel for further analysis to see if you can query this and maybe get to the bottom of this problem that's causing your SharePoint to behave unexpectedly. So this is something that we are trying to offer you to be so you can be more proactive with your farms and to troubleshoot whatever is going on with this particular server. We have also added one new additional feature, and that feature allows you to configure alerts. So if you want to ensure that the particular problem listed here cannot connect to the configuration database is not happening anymore, you can hit this and then you can just click alert me. So this alert me is going to query the database in the selected frequency, and if a new event of this type happens on your server, you will receive an email with that information. So let's say this is like a config DB alert, and I'm going to send this to myself via email. So I'm just going to receive an email every hour if there are new events containing this particular query string. So any kind of surge that you create can be modified to be an alert. So if I go to alerts management screen, I'll see that I have 2 different alerts, and then I'll see a history of all the events that were sent to me over the course of today, because these events are from today. I just configured this alert to be sent to me today. So this is how it works, and you can configure any type of alert to be delivered to anybody, and the system is going to alert you as soon as there are new events that contain your search terms. Maya already mentioned that we added some additional sources, so you can now also query SQL. So all the SQL event logs, of course, you're not going to find anything related to the configuration database in the SQL event logs, but I can query something generic and find some stuff in the actual event log. So for example, some events that happen in SQL Server, so we are querying all the different types of SQL Server logs, and we are surfacing that from your SQL servers that are part of your SQL Server file. So this is quite an easy task for you. You only need to have one central SPDocKit Insights, and then this SPDocKit Insights will be able to collect data from all your servers and all your SQL servers. Jumping a little bit further to the performance part, so what we are looking here is our performance dashboard. So this performance dashboard shows me the status of my SharePoint farms. In this case, I only have one farm called Contoso Farm, and this Contoso Farm has a total of 6 different servers. Some of these servers are SharePoint servers, and we have 2 SQL servers. So what I'm looking here is like a dashboard that shows me basic information about my farm. The right-hand side of the servers, they're all green, everything is okay. And I do have some problems with my SQL servers and my SPDocKit H server. So this is something I should take a look at and see what exactly is causing the problem here. I have 2 different views for this. I only have one demo farm in my demo environment, but you can easily connect multiple farms, or you can have more than 6 servers, and then this screen might look a little bit filled with too much information. So we have a different view called compact view, where you can see more servers on the same screen, or if you prefer a grid format, we can also show that. So we are showing you the same information in the various kinds of different layouts for you. We also have a built-in search, so if you have too many servers, it will be fairly easy for you to find something. So let me jump into my Contoso farm, and this is something we call a farm dashboard. So here you have all your servers listed on a single screen, and here on the single screen I can see more information about my servers. So for example, if we take a look at a SQL 16 AO1 server, you will notice that this server has a total of 7 different disks, and you'll see that my E drive is almost out of space. So that's why this particular server is in red, because the E drive is running out of space. Of course, I can take a little bit more detailed look. If I click on this server, I'm going to be taken to our server dashboard, and my server dashboard is going to surface me information about the most important performance counters that we are tracking for your server. So you will see the major charts here are CPU usage, memory usage, network usage, and disk I/O operations. So all of these are fairly typical. There's nothing very heavily used. So I would say that the operation here is pretty normal. And as I scroll down, you will see different sets of performance counters. So the system automatically detects what kind of a server this is, and we have detected that this is a SQL server. So that's why we are tracking some SQL server specific counters, like user connections or SQL recompilations and queue length and things like that. So here we can show you if your SQL server is having any kind of a potential problem, and if the major and the most important performance counters are being or are performing correctly. And you can use this to analyze if something might be wrong with your server. I didn't show that at the beginning. You can configure the dashboard, this dashboard, to show you different time periods. So if you want to troubleshoot a server over a course of, let's say, last 24 hours, you can simply change the filter here, and then you will see data on these charts for different time period. Then we have some generic counters. So for example, disk counters. So we are retrieving disk counters for all the servers, and then you can see if there is something problematic. For this particular server, it has only 2% of free space on E drive, and that's why this server, the system is indicating that there is a problem here. So this is something that somebody should take a look and verify if this is a real problem or something is going on normally for this server. I can go back and I can take a look at some of the, let's say, SharePoint servers. This one is, everything is fine, so there won't be any errors, but I can show you that we have some different performance counters for servers that are web servers, web front-end servers, so we are tracking some specific IS counters to for this particular server. And we are also tracking, since this is a SharePoint server, we are tracking some .NET counters that are available to just to make sure that the .NET is working okay on this particular server. So this, the tool allows you to monitor your farm, to stay on top of any potential problems, and to troubleshoot if something happens, to see what kind of a problem happened and what you need to do. As I said, I only have one farm here, but the system is much more useful when you have more than one farm, and then you can fill these dashboards with so many servers and then see if some of these are problematic and if they need to be monitored more closely or improved or removed from farm for fixing or something like that. So this is how we help you with our performance dashboard. Okay, so this concludes our presentation on Insights. So this is our new tool, and we are going to go back to our main SPDocKit console for all the other demos today. So Maya already mentioned we did a lot of changes for security, so I'm just going to open my Permission Explorer and show you some of the content that I have. So currently I have opened my web application SharePoint Intranet 81, and there I have a site collection called the Blue Wonder Airlines, and Blue Wonder Airlines has it's a root site, root of the site collection, and in the root site of the site collection it has 3 subsites: Amsterdam, New York, and Stockholm. So here I'm currently managing New York site, and as you can see, only user Tony Franklin has full permissions and full control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the built-in SPDocKit controls to grant some people permissions, and I'm going to give let's say full control to Johnny. Okay, and then I'm just going to give let's say marketing, and I'm going to give them contribute. So our built-in functionality, so I won't go into many details of our permission features, because that would require me to speak for 2 or 3 hours to show you all the features. If you're interested, you can always contact us and somebody can do a demo for you, or you can just browse our website to see some of the previous webinars that we already had. So we can do all the stuff that SharePoint can, but we also have some built-in wizards like cloning permissions, transferring permissions, adding people to groups, and managing permissions in general. We are trying to make this more efficient for you guys so that you can change permissions quickly, so that your business users can continue working whatever they need on this particular site. So what I did, we started with only Tony, who had full control, and then I added 2 different objects, marketing and Johnny, with different permissions. So let's say that somebody calls me and says, oh, you made all the mess with the permissions, can you please fix that, and let's go back to whatever it was this morning. And in normal situation, I would say, if I don't have documentation, like, I'm sorry, I have no idea what I did. But in this case, I have SPDocKit, I have a snapshot of all the settings, and with our new feature, Restore, I can go back in time and restore my SharePoint to the time before I made any changes. So I'll just click the Restore button. It's going to ask me a couple of questions, and in this case I want to restore everything. So you can choose if you want to restore some groups that were deleted, permission levels and stuff like that. So we give you some granularity here, and you can choose the amount of stuff that you want to restore. But let's go for this demo. Let's choose everything, and I have a snapshot that I created like two or 3 hours ago. So I'm just going to choose that snapshot, and then the system is going to calculate what kind of changes were made after that snapshot. And as you can see, it has detected that Johnny got full control and marketing got contribute, and the red icon indicates that these permissions are going to be removed because they were added after that. If I made some changes, like if I changed the permission level a user had, it will also detect that. It will also detect if somebody is now missing permissions and stuff like that. So the system is going to do a comparison, and then it's going to create a set of actions that need to be performed in order to permissions to get to exactly the same level as they were. So let's go next. It's showing me all the stuff that it's going to do. So it's going to remove Johnny, and it's going to remove marketing from this site. That's it. Before we proceed, you need to verify that you know what you are doing. Restore is a very powerful but very dangerous tool. So we just want to make sure that you understand that this is going to, these two objects are going to be removed. So just don't proceed here if you are not sure. So we had added this a little bit of control, so just to make sure that you're okay what you are doing. Okay, so that's done. And once it refreshes, it's back as it was. So only Tony has permissions here. Of course, this is a very simple example. In a real environment, you will probably have like hundreds of changes that are made over the course of time, or somebody made some mistake. So be very careful. The tool is very powerful, but you need to understand what kind of changes are going to be made, and our wizard is going to show you in the preview what exactly is going to be changed, so that you can stay on top of that and be sure that there are any issues for this particular site or something like that. Maya also mentioned that we added an audit report, so we rely on SharePoint to track all the changes. You need to enable that before you go, but here you will see some of the changes that were made earlier today. So for example, Tony was granted full control over that particular site, and then he was also removed from some other groups, and I also made a change on the New York site where I created a permission inheritance. I broke the permission inheritance for that site, so everything here is being checked, and I can then do some reports and find out who exactly made the changes in SharePoint and what exactly was changed. So if I'm trying to troubleshoot something and verify that there were someone didn't make anything that he was not supposed to, or if I'm trying to find out how in earth somebody got permissions here, I can use this report to find that. It's a typical report of SPDocKit, so it can easily be exported to Excel or PDF, and you can use the right-hand side filters to filter out a specific time period or a specific SharePoint web application or site collection to find out what exactly has happened. We are tracking a number of different actions, so all the permission changes can be seen here, including the creation of groups and management of group members and stuff like that. So a lot of actions can be shown here, and this can be very, very useful. Okay, so that's that. Maya also mentioned that we have some health reports, health checks. So we have introduced 3 new reports that analyze your SharePoint structure and try to give you some hints on the stuff that might be improved in your SharePoint site. So for example, here we are showing you all the SharePoint objects, for example, SharePoint sites or SharePoint lists, where people have direct privileges. So this report shows you that you have granted permission to somebody directly without going through a SharePoint group. And it's always good to go through a SharePoint group, because then it's much easier to manage stuff in SharePoint. If you give some unique permissions or some permissions to a user directly, it might be problematic later on to filter all these stuff and make changes and stuff like that. So it would be advisable to have as many SharePoint groups as you have, and you can use this report to check if somebody is not following that rule, or if some people were granted access to something directly. Okay, then we are showing you lists that have items with unique permissions. So this can cause some performance problems if you have a list with a lot of items, let's say more than 5,000 items, and then if you have unique permissions on every item in that library, that can be a bit of problematic. So this report shows you the lists that have a lot of content that has unique permissions, so you can take a look and see if that's something that is supposed to be there, or that if that is something that you need to check. We can also show you all those items that do have unique permissions, so maybe if you want to filter them out and see why these permissions were broken for an individual item, you can show that in this report and see if some document or something like that has broken permissions, and maybe troubleshoot and verify if that is supposed to be like that. So all these reports help you to let's say clean up your SharePoint and make it more efficient and fix permission problems and stuff like that. Okay, So going back to my our, let's say, original feature, and our original feature was to create documentation of your farm, and we can show you that in many webinars that we already had. So let's say this is our farm. It has 3 servers, 3 web front-end servers, 1 application server, and then it has 2 database servers. And we have added 1 new feature, and that 1 new feature is to document the project server farms. So in case you have a project server installed on top of your SharePoint as a service application, we will detect that, and then we will also document everything related to your project server. So if I expand the project server node here, it's going to show me my project server site. In my case, that this is the site, and then I can expand and see all the settings related to project server, like list of projects and all the calendars and groups and stuff related to the project server configuration in your SharePoint farm. As this is part of our Farm Explorer feature, you can easily generate documentation for this. So let me go to documentation. I'm going to uncheck everything, and then I'm just going to choose my project server, and then I'm going to say this is my project server docs. And then the system is going to gather everything we know about your project server, everything that we have gathered, and it can create a Word document for me with all the settings related to my project server sites. So if you are creating a documentation either internally or for your client, this can be very useful, because with just 2 simple clicks, you can have a very comprehensive project server documentation for your projects or your clients. Okay, so Maya already mentioned our SharePoint Online feature, and for this one I'm just going to jump into a different computer. So here I have another instance of SPDocKit that is configured to work with SharePoint Online. So I'll just go to my Permission Explorer, and here I have an option to connect to a SharePoint Online site collection. So I'll just go in here. I'm just going to paste my URL for my SharePoint Online site. Okay, and then I need to provide credentials to access that site. Normally I would just type in my username and password, but I already did that, and I have that credential saved. So the credential is here, and then I can go to the option to discover everything, all the site collections in this particular SharePoint Online tenant. And as you can see on your screen, I have a lot of these site collections, so everything related to my business is here. So I can easily, with just 1 click, connect to all of these site collections, and then I will be able to see them. I already did that, so I'm just going to close this window, and then we are going to jump into my Permission Explorer, and you will see all these site collections are right here. So in order for our demo to show you something, I'm just going to open one, and in my case I'm just going to open my Contoso site collection, and you will see that this is a SharePoint site that has a couple of SharePoint subsites and document libraries, folders, calendars, and stuff like that. So for example, for the purpose of this demo, so this is a SharePoint Online site. It's in Office 365, and I can use SPDocKit here to manage permissions in exactly the same way as I was able to manage permissions for my on-prem site collection. So for example, if I want to break inheritance for employee subsite, I'm just going to click here, and then my employee subsite is going to get unique permissions, and I'll be able to manage that site. So for example, if I want to remove Alex from this site, I'm just going to go here and then remove Alex. Okay. And I can also grant permissions to somebody else and give him or her access to this particular subsite. So we are relying on your SharePoint Online infrastructure. Everything you see here is live, and you can then, as I'm typing, the system is going to query and find my user. So let's say Alex again, and then I'm going to grant him, I don't know, contribute for this particular site collection. So when I'm doing that, this is automatically being replicated to SharePoint Online, and all the changes that I do are available. You can benefit from all our built-in stuff, so cloning and transferring and all the visitors that we have to grant permissions and stuff like that. So everything we do is on the same level as we could do with your on-prem site collections. So this is very comprehensive, and it's easy to use, and you can then manage your SharePoint Online site collections with this new addition in our tool. Okay, so I can show you some other stuff as well. So let me just close this for a second. Oh no, I have something else to show you. So Maya mentioned that we have external users report. So you know, in SharePoint Online you can easily share stuff with external people, but what your company should be concerned with is who are these external people and with whom something was shared. So in my case, I have shared my site collection with a couple of people, and this report shows me the entire list of them, and I can double check if these people should really have access to something in my SharePoint site. I can then go to my other reports. So for example, this report shows me the content that was shared externally. So as I can see here, somebody has shared my root of my site collection with 3 external users. This can be normal, or this can be a problem with something like a security or compliance, stuff like that. So this report can be used to double check that. Then we can also have a hierarchy of stuff that was shared. In my case, it was only the root of the site collection that was shared, because these 3 people were added to the home members group, but maybe a document on very deep level was shared and you want to know about that. Office 365 also has the option for your users to create anonymous access links, and we are surfacing that for you as well. So we can show you the list of all the documents in your SharePoint site collection that somebody might have a direct link without even without logging to see some of the stuff. And you can of course control this on your in your SharePoint Online Administration Center and disable all these features. But if for some reason you haven't done that and these features are enabled, then it would be useful for you to take a look at these reports just to make sure that something potentially confidential was not shared directly online with somebody that you don't know and stuff like that. So definitely something worth looking at into, especially for site collections that hold some confidential or very special data. Okay, I'm going to jump back to my server to show some of the other features that we have improved in this version. So one of the new stuff that we have is the ability to compare servers, something we call server compare. So you can compare various IS, SQL Server, or server settings in general. So I'm just going to go here, choose that, and then I'm going to choose one snapshot. And as you recall, I have 5 servers in my farm, and I would definitely like to servers in the same role to have the same features. So for example, I'm going to compare SP1 with SP2. These are the web front ends, and as you can see, the system is showing me some differences. So for example, the local administrators are not the same on these 2 servers, so this is potentially problematic. I need to ensure that I have the same people with same privileges for this farm, so I need to make sure these are configured the same. And there could be other problems like, as you can see, certificates or Windows updates and stuff like that. So you need to make sure that servers are as similar as they can be. So this is how you can use our compare wizard. It is a topic for another time to go into more details, but you can try the software on your own and see if you can compare your servers and see what exactly might be the problem. I will show you some other stuff. So we are showing you something we call permission level usage. So for some customers, they create a lot of custom permission levels, and then these might or might not be used. So we are showing you in this report the list of all your site collections, and then for each site collection we are showing you the names of permission levels that are being used. So in my demo farm I only have the built-in contribute, design, edit, full control, read permission levels, but For some customers, this could include a number of other permission levels. So this report shows me the permission levels and if these levels are used or not, and maybe some custom that are not being used can be removed if they're not being used anywhere in your site collections. We have also added some additional features for database documentation. So I'm just going to jump into here and I'm going to show you how we are documenting database permissions. So this is directly from the SQL level. So we go for each SharePoint database, each service application database, or any other database that is related to SharePoint. We document all the logins and all the roles that this user has so that you can verify if somebody was granted permission directly to your database and maybe this user should not have access to that particular database. We have also added 2 new best practice reports. So we are checking if your farm is in the trial mode, because sometimes you just install a farm and then you don't have a key or something you're testing, or you're waiting to your MSDN site to reload or something like that, and the farm could go into production without you knowing that it is in trial mode. So we are checking that and we are verifying that you actually have a production key entered so that you are not surprised half a year after with SharePoint that goes down because the trial has expired. So we are checking for that and making sure that you're not in the trial mode, and I'm not, so that's good for me. And we also have one additional report for search. So we are checking if your search service is running in your farm, because people sometimes forget to configure search and then search is offline. So in my case, happily for me, the service is running, but it seems in my demo farm we have forgot to configure the crawl schedule. So if I want this search to work as it should, I definitely need to have a crawl schedule going against my data and crawling stuff and getting more results for my users. Okay, so this was a series of stuff that we added. I'm going back to Maya and we have a couple of closing slides and then we'll answer your questions.
Okay, Tony, so yeah, we have here some questions. Let's start with Marius. Marius wanted to know if the monitoring feature requires server agents to be installed, and does the monitoring processing affect the server performance?
So SPDocKit collection agent only needs to be installed on one machine. We prefer this machine to be a non-SharePoint machine, so any virtual machine in your domain can retrieve that information. So there is no requirement for you to install any agents on the SharePoint side. We try to be we designed the system in such a way that it's not very intrusive, so we don't collect performance counters every second. There is like a delay, and then we go through all your servers. So in all our testing with our internal systems and all our customers that were testing this for us in the beta version, we haven't detected any performance problems for your servers. We always recommend customers to try with a test farm to see if there is any problems, but we have been retrying performance counters for a long time now, and we haven't had any problems with performance, and it should not affect your production farm.
Okay, then Marius has one more question. Does the documentation generation works for Office 365 and SharePoint Online?
Yeah, you can use our reporting for SharePoint Online as well. The difference being is with the SharePoint on premises, we can retrieve a lot more information about your system. Of course, in the cloud, you don't know what kind of service your SharePoint is running on, and you don't care. So we don't have, of course, that part. But everything else that is available in terms of your site structures and your permission management stuff is there as is on-prem farms.
Okay, thanks. Then we have a question that says, is the refresh rate for the Insights dashboard configurable, and is the event list in event viewer merge of all farm members?
So the list is a merge, so when you see the results, they're coming from different servers and you are getting one single view, and then you can filter by different servers. We currently don't allow you to collect to display results from different farms in a single view. You need when you're querying for something from logs, you first need to choose a farm, and then you will be able to retrieve information. In terms of collection and configuring that, you can choose the event sources you want to collect from. So you can choose ULS logs, event logs, SQL Server logs, and then you can even filter out by different topics or different types of events that you want to collect. In terms of configuration of the agent, you can choose how often it's going to collect data, and you can choose the data retention and the size of the log search index, how big you want it to be. So you have different options in terms of controlling what kind of and how much data you are retrieving.
Okay, then we have a few more questions. Can you run a report to get all the document IDs per site collection? That's a question from one.
That's a good question. We don't currently document ID, so we don't retrieve that information in our database.
Okay, then how long does the system keep the history to restore permissions from, and is it in line with the recycle bin settings?
No, we don't respect recycle bin settings. You can configure your own data retention. I think our default values are like we keep snapshots for a year, but you can configure that to be more because these snapshots should not take a lot of space, and you can also configure to, even if you have a data retention that's going to keep stuff for 1 year, you can even configure some snapshots to be in the database forever. So you have a lot of options when it comes to retaining information about for restore.
Okay, then we have time for, let's say, 2 or 3 more questions.
We can do whatever is interesting today.
Okay,
so,
then you can tell us, we have a few questions on this topic, so you can maybe explain to everyone. Do we need separate instances of SPDocKit for our on-prem farm and Office 365 farms, and how does this work?
So SPDocKit for on-premise farm is always installed on a SharePoint server. So this is something we call a server install. And when you have a server install, this one is usually just for that farm, and it needs to be part of the farm to retrieve information. And for our SharePoint, for the people that want to connect to SharePoint Online, we recommend the workstation mode, where you install a SPDocKit on your PC, your laptop or whatever you have, and then you use this PC to retrieve information about your SharePoint Online. So in a typical scenario, if you have both SharePoint Online and SharePoint On-Prem, you would have 2 installations of SPDocKit on 2 different computers. You can connect them to the same database, but still they need to be on 2 different computers. I hope this answers the question. We have a lot of these topology reports and stuff on our website, so if you are in doubt, where do I install this and where do I install that, you can look at those, and you can always contact our support, and then somebody of our support engineers is going to help you to configure your system in optimal way.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Then how the auditing needs to be configured in SharePoint On-Prem for SPDocKit to work?
I think I can even show that just for a second here. So let me show you in my SPDocKit. I think you'll see it. It's much more easier to explain. So if I go to Permission Explorer and if I choose a different site, so let's say this one, I haven't enabled auditing for this one, and if I click Audit, it's going to give me instructions on what needs to be done here. And if I click here, it's going to take me to the SharePoint site. I might not have privileges to do this. Yeah, that is the case. But I can do that for another site. So it would take me to a page. So let me just open that one for just a quick second. I don't have privileges over there, but here I already did that, and you just need to go to Site Settings and Site Collection Audit Settings, and then you need to choose this option. And once that is enabled, you can retrieve information from your audit logs. Okay?
Okay. Okay, and then Dan wants to know if we can set up alerts for the performance monitoring dashboard, for example, when some disk is 80% full.
Currently, we don't offer alerts for performance part of the SPDocKit Insights. That's something we are working on, but we are not there yet.
Okay, and then for the SharePoint Online, do you support Office 365 groups and OneDrive sites?
So in terms of groups, we can retrieve information, basic information about groups. We are trying to expand that, and that's something we are also working on. We currently don't connect to OneDrive sites. That's something we are also exploring as well. And just stay tuned. The next release will probably be adding more stuff for SharePoint Online as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then do you have a report that helps you to compare two on-prem farms directly?
Yep.
Peter.
So that would be a part of our compare wizard. You would need to create two snapshots, and then as I was showing you the compare between two different servers, you can also compare two different farms as well on many different levels.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then we have one more question. I'm interested in collecting performance data over a period of month or more. Can the Insights feature do this? And if not, is that functionality planned for the future?
So I think for performance counters and performance monitoring, our currently default data retention is 15 days. We are currently exploring if we could improve on that and give you more time to hold your event data. The problem with event logs is they typically can generate a lot of stuff or a lot of data in the database, so we are very, let's say, conservative on that part. We also have a different tool that is designed for more detailed performance analysis. It's called SysKit, and the URL is siskit.com. And there you can get custom retention periods. So if you're looking into more detailed performance metrics and more detailed performance troubleshooting, I would definitely recommend our other tool where you can get more detailed and more configurable auditing and data retention.
Yeah. Okay. Then Jen wants to know, am I able to get all the information from the insights to a report to use them in daily reports? I assume that he's asking about the export option.
Yeah, currently we only offer you the console for our SPDocKit reports or SPDocKit Insights reports. These cannot be scheduled to be delivered via email. As I said, I would also refer you to our other tool that can do that, and you can schedule any type of report to be delivered via email in any time period that you prefer.
Okay, and the last one, does SPDocKit use any other audit data beside user permissions?
So we currently audit all the changes for user permissions. So we definitely, as I shown you, we also audit the administrative actions. So if anybody makes a change in the SharePoint Central Administration, we can track that as well and show you that as part of your report. But in order to get that one, you need to have SharePoint 2016 with Feature Pack 1. Unfortunately, for SharePoint 2013 and other editions, this was not available, and we rely on Microsoft Feature to retrieve that information.
Okay, thank you, Tony, very much. I think that would be all for now. If we maybe skipped some question, we will contact you immediately tomorrow and you will receive all of your answers, don't you worry. So that would be all from us today. Feel free to download SPDocKit at our website, www.spdockit.com. It's free for 30 days, it's fully functional, so try all of these new and existing features. And of course, contact us at support@acceleratio.net if you have any other questions. I hope that you enjoyed our presentation today and join us next time again. and goodbye everyone.
Bye everyone, bye.
Bye.